Hello and welcome. In just a moment, I'm just getting set up right now. When we're going to get rolling. I'm going to be making a game. Going to be continuing where we left off. We left off with the game in an incomplete state. If we run, we'll see. We have chests. We can right click on them. We can look in the inventory. But we can't see the inventory. And I was thinking, I don't know why this is happening, but I do want to create a use mechanic. Oh, I have this command. I do want to create this. Right now, I'm executing on the client, but I want to probably be executing on the server. And then I want to have the server. Oh, test stream is, am I online? It says we're online. I don't know. We want to probably raise this up a little. Want to probably reach out to the server and then have the server send the inventory to the client. I've been thinking that the security model for all of our communication, I don't know if there's a way to take the mob spawner, the synchronizers, or whatever, but the spawners, if you spawn a mob, that gets replicated instantly to everyone. There's no way to say only replicate this to player 2 because only player 2 can see this mob. No one else can see this mob, so don't even tell them about it. I don't believe that's a function that this allows. If we spawn this, it goes to everyone. I could be wrong though. And because that's kind of like the world that we're living in, we can either accept that or we can stop using the spawner, make our own, and then configure it so that we can decide when we spawn things, who gets to see it. Calling spawn function on all peers. My point is, I think the security model that we're going to have to settle on long term, we don't even have one right now, but long term, what we're going to have to do is say, if one player sees something, all players see something. So if one player opens up an inventory, all players, the game does not reveal that stuff to you, but if someone was to snoop on the network traffic, they would see the contents of that inventory, even if they're like on another level. I don't think that's a disqualifying thing, but it's just something to keep in mind and something we can accept. If someone wants to hack the game to spy on information that their allies are getting, all right. I mean, you can do the same thing just by screen sharing, so I'm not going to lose sleep. All that to say, we should only think of two things to keep secret: the server and the client. One server, one client. Not multiple. There are no secrets between clients. So we can create our RPC handlers accordingly. So when we open up a chest, when a player uses a chest, they will send an RPC to the server to say, "Hey, I'm using this." And we have that command here. And then this will call why is this exec client? Is that how the command is set up? If is server pass. Okay, so we just never is server. Got it. This is poorly named, but okay, we're going to RPC handler, and we're going to call this, and this is just going to call use of the mechanism. What we should do is for this is happening on the server, or we should assume that this function is being called on the server. We should say the portal logic, exit logic, just in case I get confused. We don't call this here, but we do call an RPC handler and say, dear player, you create a UI element for this inventory component. I need to set that up. We need to do this. This gives us no benefit right now. This was going to give us benefit like 3 months later. But we need to do it. Access inventory. I'm trying to think, because the security model is that when the user is going to be aware of the chest. They have to be. That's how they use it. They're not going to be aware of what's inside of it. So the server needs to tell the client, by the way, this is what the inventory component contains. And I think this, what it's already been planned, what I've already said, should be fine. We don't need to plan anything beyond that, but I'm feeling, I don't know, I'm feeling a little apprehension going down that path, but let's just try it. And then if we don't like it, we can stop. So func, nope, RPC, func, open inventory, target ID. This is being called on the client. Let's get the target. And then we'll grab this code, target.getNode.createUIElement. And then that's it. And then in here, instead of this, we RPC handler dot open inventory dot RPC ID peer ID. We have the user. The user's name is the peer ID, right? Like, and then we pass in self. Nope, we can't pass in self. We have to pass in self.name. Okay. Theoretically, this should have the exact same functionality as before, but now we're set up to live in a world where, no, it didn't. That didn't work. Oh. Okay, that's not super unexpected. Self dot, what is it? It's multiplayer dot get unique ID. There we go. Okay. Is this function being called? Nope. So we're not calling the RPC correctly. How do I call an RPC? It's possible that this is not the right ID. Sender ID. Get remote sender ID. But we're not in a... This method called 0 when called outside an RPC. Maybe this will still work. Because this function should be getting called inside of an RPC. Oh. Right. That's actually why it's not working. Because it's not a server. Not a server command. So we're trying to RPC from a client to a client. And that just doesn't work. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now, this should still be a bug. Yep, it's still a bug. Okay. This is good. This doesn't progress, but we needed to do that. Now let's figure out this bug. So let's open up the remote. Server. Oh, no. Over here. Client. Okay, which one am I? This feels like me, because there's a lot more errors. This is the server. This is the client. Okay, let's take a look at... I don't remember which is which, but doesn't matter. Grab that, 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 and grab that. Open this up. Let's put something in inventory slot 1. Three item, but the item slot is null. That's not right. Oh, wait, no, it's not null anymore. Okay, it's fine. Now, if we look at this, this is empty, obviously. Why is the item in env empty? I bet if I look at the server, there's no inventory at all. So yeah, if I look at the server, I don't see anything. UI node is null. Oh, wait, hold on. Stupid scroll wheel. Oh no, there's a UI node. There it is. Why is this null? Why is this null? This should not be null. So item is here, but the UI node, and the UI node exists, but the UI node is null. Why would that happen? Let's take a look at our inventory slot. Okay, this is not what I meant, but this is. There it is. Okay. Oh, that's right. We got this player breadcrumb nonsense. That's right. Okay, so if the item slot is getting set, we should only update the UI node if we are the player that belongs to that UI node. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm remembering why I wrote this. Because if you don't have this, whenever an item slot gets updated, it'll go to everyone, and I don't want that. I only want it to go... Okay. What this may take is I may need to have a variable attached to the inventory component that says, like, I'm being accessed by this player. Like when I open the and I open the UI, I also set a flag on the inventory component that says, I have you open. And then we add a signal to the UI element that says, when you close, let the inventory component know not being accessed anymore. Access sealed. And I think we can just handle that on the client. When we create, okay, let me go look at the mechanism. Where is that? We're just calling this RPC, and this RPC is calling create UI element, and create UI element is an inventory component function. And at the moment we don't take in an argument, but what if we did take in an argument? What if we took in the argument player P UI, where's the UI? InVUI element? Yeah, InVUI element. Okay. So when we create the InVUI element, let's also track who created this. Players with UI. UI owner. Is there a world where we have multiple players accessing? No, there isn't. Because the client only has one player at a time. I'm only one player on my client. So we don't need that to be able to handle multiple players on a single box. When we create the InVUI element, we also track who did this? Who done it? In order to do that, okay, when are we calling this function? Create element. Because we can't rely on like the player breadcrumb. Okay, so we're calling it here in mechanism. We're also calling it in the inventory component. This is okay. Yeah, this in this case it is the parent is a player. We're also calling it here in the bag. I think in this case the item, the player breadcrumb here will include the player, and then this we absolutely can get the multiplayer.unique ID, or we can include the player node. Yeah, we have that function. Get sender player node. That actually won't work because the sender is the server. But we have, we can just pass in input.main. Wait a minute. This doesn't need to be that complicated. As I said earlier, there's only one player on my client. So this doesn't need to be a player. This can just be a Boolean. Right? this is a client-side Boolean. It's going to be false unless we create a UI element. And then we say true, and we know that we're the player that it's talking about because we're the only player on this client. So local UI accessor is true. And then we'll create it. We need to create a signal env UI element dot. Oh, jeez. Okay, hold on. It's a canvas group? No, it's not. UI element. It's this. This needs to have a signal on close. On UI close pressed. Does that work, or does that need to be a string? It needs to be a string. Why does that? Why is that the case? Okay, we go back. We connect to that signal. There we go. Dot on close dot connect. Oh, I need to pass in a function. On close env on UI element close. This is an internal function. Local UI accessor equals false. What does disconnect take? I need to take a callable. Oh, okay. So we're passing in. Sure. We don't need to listen anymore. We could probably also just set env UI element to null, but I don't think that's necessary. This might be unnecessary because when a queue free happens, does queue free disconnect the signals? Godot does queue free disconnect signals. Sure. We don't need this. But we will set this to false. And then that means for inventory slot, we don't need this player breadcrumb. We just need if inventory component dot UI access. Local UI accessor. That should be all we need. And this one I'm going to want to test with 2 players. But first, let's make sure this works. Okay. Yeah, we can still swap things. Swapping still works in both directions. Let's grab a bag. We can put things in the bag and take it out. Not the bag, though. Okay. Okay. This is promising. Okay. Oh, it works. It works. And we can tell it works because the torch is over there now. Yes. Okay. Great, that simplifies our code too. Unfortunately I named this local UI accessor and I'm not going to remember what that means. So let me leave a note for myself. Is this UI element open on this client? We need to test it with 2 clients. Okay. Let me get the inventory over here. So we open the bag and put it over here. We can put things into the bag. Okay, what if I drop the bag? Look at that, it's all in there. Nice. Okay, I just tried to open the thing, but I misclicked, so you know what? We're not going to think about that too hard. Okay. Here's our inventory. Let's try putting in... Why can I still see this? Ooh, okay, okay. That's totally understandable. Yeah, no, that's a case we're not catching. Oh, it works. Oh, it worked. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, ex-sister, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Look at that. We can share items. I do need to do a thing where when you drop the bag, or no, really, it's just when you drop the bag, automatically close this. Yeah. Let's do that right now. This works. This is all good. So hopefully this note is good enough for me to figure out. We're going to on item drop. Calling remove item from inventory. We can just, in this function, we are the inventory component. So we can just close this. We have the inventory UI element. If inventory UI element, and there should be a close function that we can just call. It feels weird calling this on UI close pressed, but that's the function we need to call. But I've made it, I made it private. So let me respect myself. Func close UI. And then in here, it's totally safe to call this function. So we'll just do that. And then we go back here. I didn't go back. I'm still in the UI element. All right, here we go. Inventory UI element dot close UI. All right. Server over there. This is client 1. Client 2. I pick up the bag. I put a torch in it. And a shield. Or this is a chest armor, but whatever. And then we drop it. Damn it. That didn't work. should have worked. Am I crazy? Okay, hold on. We got so many print lines. Let's clean them up. Okay. Let's keep that one. Are we calling this function? I don't care. We're checking our equipment. What is this print line? Oh. We're adding an int property, and now we're setting an int property. None of these matter. Okay, let's leave all the RPC ones. Let's leave that. Let's leave all the commands. What's this? Show error. Okay. That's a to-do. Connected signal. Yep. Yep. Okay. Let's set a print for when we clear the this. Oh, wait a minute. This is removing one item from the inventory. Hold on. This is not. This logic is not correct. What was I thinking? Go back to drop item. Drop item is calling this function. This function calls remove the item from inventory. Item. You know what we should do? I'm almost correct. Okay. I messed up. We are clearing the UI element for the thing that is holding the bag. We want to clear the UI element for the bag. So we actually want the item param dot object handler dot get inventory component. Oops. Item param dot. There we go. This should work. I'm a little confused as to if I'm understanding correctly, what should have happened is as soon as we drop this should close our main inventory window, which is, that's bad. But that is didn't work. I forgot to put the print lines in. Okay, open that up. We're removing an item, but we did not remove its UI element. Okay, cool. I'm targeting myself. Great. Ugh. Someday I'll clean that up in stage 2. Okay, let's take a look. Actually, can we set a breakpoint? When we get here and here, yeah, that's fine. Let's just do this, and then we hit a breakpoint. Let's take a look at which item is this? 5 item? No, this is bread. That's a sword. That's a shield. There it is. 2 item. What's the inventory component look like? There is no UI element. It's null. It's null because this is the server. Let's go back over here. Nope, that's not even a thing. Wait, what? Where are the items? Oh, whoa, whoa, what's going on here? Why is... Oh, because the server is paused. Okay. We're at a breakpoint. We've got an item. Item param bag. Yeah. Item bag has an inventory component. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, it's got no inventory component. Hold on though. Are we calling this on the server? Because if that's the case, then that's the problem. We don't need to call this breakpoint. Let me grab the bag. Let me open it. Let's see. Do we have a UI element? We obviously have a UI element. It's right there. Inv2 item UI layer. And it's here. It's here. Okay. Dot format multiplayer dot get unique ID. All right, who's calling this function? Is it just the server? It's just the server. Okay. So what we can do, we can have the server send an RPC to the client and say, "Hey, it's time to close up." We don't really need to do that though, because the client is somehow being notified that this is left their inventory. We don't need to RPC, and I'd rather not RPC if I could help it. Because when we drop, we're calling drop item. This is all on the server. We're in server land right now. We are calling, this is the only function that we call. So somewhere at some point, something in here causes the client to drop the bag. And it's nothing here, not these. It's not this emit signal. It might be the emit signal. No, it wouldn't be the emit signal because that's... No, it could be. It could be. Okay. Item slot is null. If we set item slot to null, is item slot being monitored by something? Let's take a look. No, we have no synchronizer whatsoever going on here. But, wait a minute. Yeah, we do have one for the item slot. Is that what I said before? Yes, the item slot is getting set to null. Okay, and there's a synchronizer there, and the synchronizer catches that and says, oh. Maybe we can say if the item slot is null. No, I don't know. How do we... Okay, so when the item slot is set to null, how does the item appear on the ground? Oh, this. We're setting the collector to null. That means this is on the ground. So what we can also do is say when the collector... Okay. We go to the collector. We go to the collector and we say, hey, when you get thrown on the ground, this. If you have an inventory component, why are we setting the position of vector 2, 0? This is where we want to do it, but hold on. Oh, that's setting the sprite. Oh, that's setting the sprite. That's correct, because the sprite is offset when it's in the inventory. Yes. Okay, so this is fine. Okay, so then we get parent dot, and the parent is, the parent may have an inventory component. If object handler dot get inventory component. You know what? Don't I have this code? Can I just copy this code? Parent. Okay, let me just var incomp okay. If there's no inventory component, if we have a collectible component but no inventory component, which is, most things, don't do anything. But if we do have an inventory component, check if there's an inventory element. And if there is, close it. This should execute on the server and the client. And because we're checking, this should just work. This should just work. Let's just witness. Boom. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Throw this over here. Client 1. Client 2. Okay, I can throw things in my inventory. I can put them in my bag. And then we can grab some things. If I throw this on the ground and then I pick it up, I have things. Can I add a thing to it and then throw it back? Where did it go? Oh no. Oh, I was just standing on it. Okay. Okay, thank God. There it is. And then we can put it in here. Okay, so this will not close this inventory. Yeah, that will not close that inventory. So I can still modify it. So I can take things from it. Yep. And I can take things from it. Yep. And then I can throw it on the ground. That's fine. Easy fix. We're not just doing this check here. We should do this check if collector dot name player. If the collector is not the player, input handler dot player. Oops. If a collector other than the player, then honestly, we could do a kind of thing where if the collector changes at all, just close this. Just close it. Like, we don't need it. First of all, does this still work? Yep. Okay. Open that up, and then let's put it in here. Yep, okay, that works. We notably cannot... Oh, we can still open it. I don't like that. But it makes sense, though. That's kind of the problem, is that does make sense. We should be able to access this bag. If I do this, still open, that's fine. And then I drop it, and then that's fine. I mean, actually, the previous behavior kind of made sense because we have, yeah, no, the previous behavior made sense. This behavior made sense. We need to, in order to progress this further, we need to advance our security model. So we need to deny access to items that the player is out of range of. And we're not doing that for stage 1. You have access, if you can see it, you have access to it. It's just stage 1. So I think this is the stage where we say, not item containers, done. Dungeon level 2, also we're done. There's obviously still more to do. But for me, that's mainly coming up with data objects and art. We can do the data object part. Let's do the data object part. So mechanisms should not just hard code their behavior. We should pass that in. Let's create a mech folder. And then we'll also want to create a mech data. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're going to want to have a use function and an init function. We don't need this get magic words function. We technically don't need these functions, but also who cares? We can just comment them out for now. We are going to create our first mech, and it is called a chest. Nope. Okay. We need to implement the promised functions, use and init. They should not call spells, they should call mechs. Thank you. User actor. Okay, and then we take these functions, and then we do this. I think I need to copy. I need to name this function. Okay, so this is the class name chest extends shouldn't this extend resource? Did I? Yeah, it extends resource. Oh, okay, I did it correctly. that right? Mech data, no underscore. We can't take in abstract functions because this is not an abstract class. Pass. Pass. I don't think we need the init. We go to our mechanism and we take the code and we slap it in. And then we're done. Wow, this code's easy. It's just this RPC. Oh, but we do want to tell, we do want to create an inventory component. So we do want that function. Okay, great. And then here we don't need this because we're just going to call, we need to have a mech data. And then we need to copy the logic where we set. Oh, we'll need to get sprite. That's a good point. And I think this signal is valuable. But for now, why is this complaining? Isn't that a function? Did I goof? It's a function init. Oh, okay. Okay. We just, yeah, no, that's, yeah. All this use needs to be now is, just comment this all out. All we're just doing is calling mech data dot use, and then we're passing in self user. All right, we're done. Everything should work as it did before. Oh, wait, no, not yet. We're missing a step. The problem is when we declare the mechanism, we're not passing in the mech data. And we'll solve that. That's a very boring problem to solve. Probably solve that offline. In fact, it's so boring. It's more tedium than anything. We're calling spawn. We need to pass in a data. Is this returning a string? It's just returning a string. That's annoying. It occurs to me that it would be very nice to be able to pass in state as well as not just the resource string, but the state. Like, we're not just a torch. We're a full fuel torch, or we're a half fuel torch. It would be nice to be able to set that value. The way I have this structured makes that impossible, and I need to redo that thought process at some point. That may be pretty urgent. That's important because, and this is the wrong thing, I'm not passing in the right thing. That is important because we need to be able to tell it when we're creating exits, we need to link two exits, and we need to be able to tell it, all right, this exit links to that exit, and no other exits. So we need to be able to like make that work. For now, this should work. Cool. If I can, where's my there it is. We need this to pass in. Really? This can just take, this is just a giant array. Okay. We've got the mechanism data param. Oh, we're calling load here. Okay. Yeah, that will need to change, but for now, I need to think about how exactly I'm gonna want to do that. Cause like, so for Agent Smooth, for the game jam we did in May, there were some items that I passed in like, here's the item data, and then also here's something, I can't remember what. I don't remember. But we need to be able to pass in state. That's all. I'm not going to do that tonight because invalid access to property or key name on a base object of type resource chest. Where's this happening at? We can't call RPC open handler because we're calling self.name. No, we need to call mech.name. Yeah, self.name gives us a resource. Yep. This is being called, and we are 15671873666. Me too, thanks. All right. Oh, this is the bag. Okay, I thought these were swapped. Yeah. I don't know if I like the idea of you put this in a chest and then the chest does not glow with light. I think that makes sense. Maybe we have a variable that's like light blocker. Nothing to worry about right now. I'm gonna watch this torch. I need this. Okay, well, as soon as this torch goes out, just a little mental break. But as soon as this torch goes out, we've got, what was that? Huh. I made a window pop up here in the corner, and I don't know how I did that. Whatever. Next task. That's we'll just say good enough, and then I'll take care of that offline because we're just gonna create a resource node. We've already got the logic right now. I'm just gonna shove it in the node, and then we're gonna do art and slap it onto the map, and then we're good. I'm gonna skip over the mob data spree because we're not doing that. Day and night. I was thinking about how to implement this in particular, because I think this is going to be the first instance of this is a component that we can add to the game. We've been adding components to players, mobs, items. Why not add a component to the game? Day-night component. Time component. Let's call it a day-night component. The day-night component's job is to handle this thing. This thing is just hanging out loose right now. Don't need to do that. We can, it could be a handler, but the problem with a handler is a handler cannot be a parent and it cannot have children. This doesn't work like that. We can just make a component, slap it in the game, and then it's as good as a handler. But it doesn't need to be global. Yeah. Day-night component. Technically. Oh, that's the wrong thing. How do I get back to the main? Oh my gosh, I have all of these open. Can I just close everything except the day-night component? And then let's open this up. We can make this the component. The canvas module can be a component. It's just gonna be a color, and then we're gonna have a function to set like the alpha, basically. Alpha is gonna vary from 0 to 99%. And then we can put that on a timer. We can add a timer component to our component. Why not? Every 30 seconds, increase the alpha by 2% or something. I don't know. We can probably have a much smarter. This is stage 1. We don't need to overthink this. Let's just copy this. Go over here, paste. Promote this to parent. Delete. Rename component. Boom. We can attach a script to it. How does the event component work? This calls parent.event. Okay, so we just need to create a parent.event function. We don't need to register this in the object handler. Not necessary. We can just skip this ready. We can even skip this process. There's the script. Put that in the scripts folder. We're going to create event func. I think we do need to set the interval. So func ready, like set interval and start timer. Yeah, we do need to call start timer too. So might be worth just doing this. Event component dot set interval 30. Let's set it to 3. 2.0 every 3 seconds. And then on event, we should probably have a var alpha. And then let's just every 3 seconds, let's reduce the alpha by 20%. And then when the alpha is 0%, we'll just stop. We go from day to night, and that's it. That is the entirety of what we're doing. We can think up a more permanent, smarter day-night cycle someday. I mean, like my thinking is that this isn't a dungeon. Why is that? My thinking is that this is. Oops. Okay, that shouldn't have happened. This isn't a dungeon, so the day-night, there isn't a day-night cycle. Like, it's just night. But we can put that aside for now. Event component.start. Start timer. There we go. And then alpha minus equals 0.2. We can change, what is it? The color? Self.color. Okay. If we do that, this should take 10 seconds for everything to go dark. Oh, we're not even calling that. Okay. Is it because I forgot to add it to the main? Yes, that is correct. That's why it's not working. All right, get that out of here. Introducing day-night component. Oh, also it's that. Oh, this should be 0.0, and then we should go up. Yes. What on earth? What have I done? Okay, so first of all, we need to set this to 0. What has happened? Is it just 0, not 0.0? I have some regrets. What if I undo and then I set this to 0.0? Same thing happens. Okay. So the problem is not anything I did immediately. This has just always been a problem. So if we set the alpha to 0, that still drowns out all the color. That doesn't make any sense. No, that doesn't make any sense. If the alpha is 0, this should have no effect on anything I'm seeing, right? Or do I not understand something fundamental? What if I set this to that? That doesn't make any sense. Why is this drowning out the color? Okay. Oof. What if I do this? No. What if I do that? No. I'm at a loss. I don't understand what is going on here. Why is that having that effect? If this was like, if the alpha is 10, I can understand, like, okay, so that's why it's affecting the appearance of stuff. But if the alpha is 0, okay, this is a canvas modulate, not just, this isn't just an image. So maybe by doing this, I'm modulating the world. If that's the case, I actually don't want to change the alpha. I want to change the RGB. So something like that. Oh, yeah. Now, these are desynced, which is fully expected. It's darker on the server than it is on the client. You can't see it because it's completely dark, but I can demonstrate by putting this here. Oh, it isn't. It was desynced. It's synced now. I just, whatever. Okay. We have the day-night component. So we can make this whatever we need it to be. Can cast light. Put this, wait, no. Is this the, oh, I don't have a bag. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Where's my light? Why is the world dark? I'm sorry, what? Hold on. Remote. What's going on? The RGB is negative 4.8. Does that do something? Like, because the RGB is so great, it's overwhelming the rest of everything else. All right. I mean, it could be. That could be. That sounds dumb, but I'm not gonna, like, begrudge the game being like, you set the color to negative 6,000. What did you expect to happen? Oh, my light. Grab a torch or a sword. Light over. Targeting myself again. Okay. I think that was the problem. If you set the RGB to like 6,000, negative 6,000, weird things happen. That's fine. I'm gonna say meh done ish. Likewise, we have a hunger and food. So I am not 100% on the design of this, but in a past design document, I have outlined the idea of stamina being a long-term resource where like every time you take damage and you heal, it costs a little bit of stamina, but like you have enough stamina to heal your health bar 10 times over. And then once you run out of stamina, the only way to get it back is to like go to a town, basically. So it's just a long-term limit on how deep you can go, how much damage you can do. I'm not convinced that that is a good idea. That design makes more sense in my previous idea, which is not this idea. So this may be nothing. This may be nothing, but I can try and implement a stamina bar, and then we can experiment with what that might be, how that might appear in the game. And then we'll call that done. But next time, I think this week is just going to be spent on making mobs, making a variety of mobs. I think that is the important thing. And I've got 4 mobs here. We've got slime. I've got the slime graphics. I'm happy to reuse those from Martian Crawl. Hi. Hello, Suudat. I'm just about to finish up, but welcome to the stream. Just talking about my plan for next time. We're going to make mob data. There's actually a lot of data that can go into a slime, or not a slime, but in a mob. Like we've got to think about like attack, defense, movement speed, aggression, like special attack. I don't want what we did for Martian Crawl was all attacks are calculated the same, but a mob can override that calculation. And then more or less every mob has a unique critical effect to make each mob a little more interesting. And I don't think that came out very well in Martian Crawl, but I think it was the right idea. What did you do today? We got the containers working. These actually work now. They were bugged last time. So you right click on them. Nope, that's not it. You right click on them. This would pop up, but when you put an item in there, it would not appear here. But now it does. And we verified that 2 clients can exchange items through a shared inventory, and that the inventory works more or less how we expect it to. There's some wibbly wobbliness with like this bag. I put a thing in the bag, and then I put the bag in here. It doesn't close this bag because technically I still have access to it. Technically, I can, like if I close this inventory and then I open this, I have access to the bags. I should be able to open it up, and I should be able to take things out of the bag. And I should be able to take the bag. If we drop the bag, it'll make the bag inventory window close. That I think is important because we don't want to be able to just give someone a bag and then continue to take things out of the bag that's in their inventory. And then that's kind of it. I mean, we also added this day-night cycle, but that's not much to claim. But what we have is good enough. And then next time, we'll just build the data object for mobs. We may move the think logic out of the mob that's there currently? We may not, because, I mean, all mobs want to move towards the player. But we do want to think about how we're going to make each mob feel different and unique and interesting. And that is going to go beyond just the sprite and the damage numbers. Well, not the damage numbers, the numbers. So I don't, there might be less coding and more just staring at a monitor and going, But this is important. I think this is going to be the biggest hurdle. This and this. And then after that, right-click context menu, whatever. Basic menu. Dockable UI wings. I have got an idea for how to do that. Experience and leveling. Sure. And then this is not going to be much. This is going to be very bare bones. And then basic testable dungeon. Well, we already have a testable dungeon, so I just make it bigger. And then we'll call that done. And then we're end of stage 1. And we're still on track to get that by the end of the month. Looking forward to that. Anyway, that is it. I stop here. I'm hoping I'm going to continue to stream every day. I'm hoping that I stream more than an hour every day. But it's more important to keep the habit. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you are doing well with your game dev and playing lots of fun games. Hope the weather's nice for you. See you all next time.